I'm gonna think of a way to upgrade this "What Need to Go Now" segment because I can think of a lot of motherfuckers and a lot of things that need to go, but this motherfucker in particular, man. Like, so pretty sure everybody knows who Kobe Bryant is. Fucking Los Angeles Lakers basketball legend, like Mamba mentality. Like, he was one of the fiercest competitors to walk the face of the earth. And tragically, about 4 years ago, he died in a helicopter crash, killing him, his daughter, the pilot, and like 6 other people on board that helicopter. They was flying in poor conditions, blah 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 blah. That's not why I bring that up. The what needs to go part of this whole shit is the race hustling at Kobe Bryant's expense. There are motherfuckers out there who do not miss an opportunity to throw dirt on a nigga over some real insignificant shit, over some race hustling ass shit. Now, who am I talking about in particular? You probably heard of this fucking fraudulent motherfucker too. He's in that same bracket with Charlemagne the God and all these other motherfuckers who constantly talk about the black community, what the black community needs, black community. And we might even do a little hunt during this episode. I don't know. I need to figure out what these niggas done because they do a whole lot of talking and criticizing for some niggas who I don't see at the motherfucking soup kitchen, who I don't see actually doing anything to fix the motherfucking culture that the black community has. So it's this motherfucker Umar Johnson, okay? And we gonna play a little excerpt where some motherfuckers was they did the right thing in telling this nigga he was wrong. This nigga's wrong for saying this shit. He should not be fucking saying this shit. So we gonna cut over to this article right here. Let me pull it up on my end. Say Vanessa Bryant accused of racism by not offering Kobe's $600 million estate to the black community. Now, my nigga, listen to this shit. So, first of all, let's figure out exactly what the fuck racism is, like from an objective standpoint. So we're gonna go ahead over to wokeassdictionary.com. There we go. Dictionary. Matter of fact, we just gonna use Google Dictionary. So let's type in racism. There we go. Boom. Pops right up for me. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Now, let's read that again with the shit on screen. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Now, when you look at this definition, this way. When you look at this definition here, what the fuck about not offering up a $600 million estate of a legend is racist? Oh, because she's doing something with 3 particular white individuals and blah blah. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, nigga. Niggas will take any opportunity to throw dirt on the name of a legend on anybody over some stupid shit. Some stupid shit. And I'm tired of it. I'm so fucking fed up. Especially with Umar Johnson. This nigga one of the biggest goddamn race hustlers out there, man. I don't see how this nigga even keeps ending up on shows. Like, I would never, if I brought this nigga on the show, it would be to smear and embarrass this nigga. I would have so many dashas full of fucking just discrediting shit regarding this nigga. He would never be able to recover. He's a fucking problem. That nigga is a fucking problem, man. He's despicable. Talk about because she won't offer her husband's estate to the black community. What the fuck is the black community gonna do with a $600 million estate? Burn it down the next time a motherfucker gets unjustly killed by the police or some shit like that, just like they did in Minnesota? All niggas gonna do is burn it to the ground and say it belongs to the white man anyways. So what's the point in acquiescing and appealing to these motherfuckers, whoever the black community is? That term is used interchangeably when it's some left-wing ass bullshit racial hustling shit. But who exactly is the black community? The fuck? So let's go ahead and read and get to this little Twitter excerpt. Vanessa Bryant, the wife of the Los Angeles Lakers legend Kobe, has been accused of favoring white people over black people by a prominent internet personality. Kobe, who was black, which is irrelevant, died in 2020 after a helicopter crash whilst attempting to fly in poor conditions, leading to the deaths of 9, including his daughter, Gianna. As a result, his wealth, including a $600 million USD estate, passed to his wife. Shortly after, she announced a scheme to help young people in their a scheme. Okay. A scheme to help young people in their academic and athletic careers. She has come under fire by Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, we going to look up his credentials. I'm going to definitely do that if I do nothing else. I'm going to look up his credentials and see if this nigga is a real doctor. Because right now, to me, he just seemed like he a doctor of race hustling and bullshit. This nigga is just pro-black regardless of the circumstance. A black dude could break into somebody's house, murder their family, and steal $200 in cash. And as long as that $200 goes to the black community, he'll be fucking forever immortalized by Dr. Umar Johnson. That's how unproductively Afrocentric this nigga is. Like, there's no benefit to being that fucking pro-black when you can just throw all the other shit to the side, you know, in pursuit of that. Let me move this. Oh, wait, no. Hang on. I like to change my little camera angles and shit while I'm doing this. So, let me keep reading here. Vanessa inherited his wealth. Okay, so I guess Umar Johnson's a psychologist. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Said to the Joe Budden podcast, is she using any of those money to do good to the black community? Absolutely not. Vanessa Bryant just started an initiative with 3 predominantly white colleges. Some kind of a sports initiative with Kobe's money in Kobe's name. It's like, okay. So these motherfuckers act like donating money to a HBC is like the only positive thing that can be done with money, period. Like, if it's not going to a HBC or some ghetto or some shit like that, then it's essentially useless. So we gonna pull this clip up here. We got this clip of fucking Fumar, and we gonna listen to the shit he gotta say.
Let me ask you a question.
Kobe Bryant.
Let me ask you a
question. Kobe Bryant.
I want to ask you a question.
Kobe Bryant died. Vanessa inherited his wealth.
Sure.
And guess what? Is Vanessa Bryant using any of that black man's money to do any good in the black community?
Let me ask you a question.
Absolutely fucking not.
We don't know
Vanessa
that.
Bryant. Listen,
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
How you know?
Vanessa
You know?
Bryant,
Let me ask you a question.
But wait.
because she's a public
Can I
figure,
ask you a
and
question?
she just
You
did.
don't know
You
that.
didn't see that
You
initiative.
don't know
I
that.
do know. I do know. And
Let me
I'm
ask
telling
you-
you now.
let me ask you a
Vanessa
question.
Bryant just started an initiative with 3 predominantly white colleges, some sort of a sports initiative with Kobe's money in Kobe's name. Didn't choose a single HBCU.
Let me ask you a question.
With a black man's money. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he died from taking a COVID shot. Is his white widow using any of Marvelous Marvin Hagler's fortune to help black folks?
You're being unfair.
I'm being unfair how?
Let me tell you why.
Expecting white women to use black money to help black people?
No.
How is that unfair?
Because the same way you naming these people, we can name mad black wives that got black money from their husbands that did shit to help black people. Well, stop. It's my goal. No, it's not.
We own. And you know what the difference is?
You're wrong.
You know what the difference is?
You're wrong.
If I marry a white woman, when I die, my wealth goes to the very people who have robbed everything from my community.
It's not true.
But
Man, ain't this guy fucking insufferable? And he just fucking just almost impossible to listen to. First of all, he suffers from this complex to where it's like if you're the loudest nigga in the room, what you're saying must be right. Nigga, if I talk over you, then I must be right. I'm the loudest nigga in the room. I'm doing all the pointing, all the gesticulating. I'm the one that's saying the truth. Nah, nigga. First of all, bring it down a notch. Bring it down a notch. You know? You're talking about a dead legend and his wife whose name has not been in the media for any fucking thing until you said something. I don't even think she replied to your ass because you ain't worth a reply, nigga. Your ass, just like that nigga said, you being unfair. You are being unfair. There are plenty of black wives who inherited black money from their black husbands, widows, you know, and didn't do shit for the black community. How about, why aren't you not saying something to every alive athlete who's not donating 10 to 15% of their salary to motherfucking the black community, wherever that is? You know, where is the black community? Is that shit in Georgia somewhere? The fuck, is that like a small town on the border of Alabama or some shit? Where is the black community? And just because money don't go to a HBCU doesn't mean it doesn't benefit black people. Like, black people can still attend that college. and receive all the benefits of that. Everything don't have to be HBCU. Everything don't have to be black community. That's the problem with these overly Afrocentric motherfuckers. Like everything is just, if it's not marquee headline black, then it's anti-black. That's the flawed problem with this Afrocentric. Like you can't just like be like, oh, I support black people, but at the same time, I just have my own tastes, my own preferences, my own endeavors, my own life, which I don't owe to some random motherfucker running on podcasts hollering about why people is not pro-black. I'm not just not pro-black because you say I'm not pro-black. I'm not anti-black just because I'm not wildly pro-black, okay? So that's one thing this motherfucker's got to understand. Like, just because a nigga is not donating every living second, every waking moment of their being to the so-called black community, it doesn't mean a motherfucker's anti-black, okay? We need to put that shit to bed because all that shit is done to guilt trip you and is done to manipulate you into doing some shit you might not want to do. Like Vanessa Bryant donating money to the black community is gonna solve any problem. Like, these motherfuckers always think throwing money at the issue solves a problem. That's another thing. It just feel like if you change some government policy or you give some type of reparations out, then the problem solves itself. Throwing money at a problem is, if you want to call it that, part of the solution, part of it. Like, nigga, if you got a dilapidating house and you just throw money at it, like, you might fix the exterior of the house. It might look beautiful, but this bitch might still need insulation. It still might need the floor stained. And you still might need to reconfigure some of the electricity and the wiring in the house. Nigga, like, throwing money ain't always a solution to shit. But that's what race hustlers like Dr. Umar Johnson want. They don't want you to think past that. They want you to be instantly offended by the fact that something's happening for somebody white somewhere when it could be happening for somebody black. They want you to get in your feelings every time a motherfucker broaches the subject. Every single time. Which is why my man's got to tell him, hey, look, it's my go. It's my go. It's my turn to talk. Like, nigga, you up in here hollering and screaming and shit because Vanessa Bryant donated or did something with her. Now it's hers. It was Kobe's. Now it's hers. She inherited it. Once you inherit it, it's yours. Now, if she just decided to, like, spend that whole $600 million at the Win or some shit like that, or on some type of fucking in a couple weekends time in Vegas or some shit, you blow 600. Well, yeah, that's despicable. But, like, we don't even know. Like, you just know she giving it to 3 colleges. Like, you're not giving a lot of details. Like, if it's going to why does it only have to better black people? Like, if it's going to some colleges, that's for the betterment of everyone, which black people are a part of. Mr. Umar Johnson seems to forget that part. Why? He doesn't forget it, actually. He doesn't forget it. And why does he do it? Because his goal is not to really help black people. His goal is to be seen talking the talk. If he's seen talking that shit and he's seen saying that shit, he's banking on the fact that you just gonna instantly go to your feelings, that you're not gonna take a rational moment to think this shit through with any kind of clarity. You just gonna get instantly in your feelings and boom, agree with that narrative. Because that's what it is. It's like an impulse buy. It's like when you walking through and the salesman gets you blah, 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 he hitting you with some shit. He's trying to get you to make a decision right then and right there. That's why something called buyer's remorse happens, because you bought this shit because you bought into him, not so much you bought what the product is. And that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to buy into him and not buy into the fact that the way he's preaching his message misses the root of the problem and is a cosmetic temporary solution. Everything done by a white person is not bad. It's just not. It's just not. Like, mathematically, it's just not. Or there would be no white people. White people would destroy themselves. We're the ones destroying ourselves. You feel me? We the ones burning down communities and shit. And over drug addicts and counterfeit money peddlers. Nigga, that's what we want to burn down our community over. But you want to talk about where Vanessa Bryant is spending her money, but you don't want to talk to the people who burn down their communities. You don't want to talk to the people who kill their own at Fuck how often other races do it. I don't know how much other races do it, but it's happening too fucking frequent. 1% is too frequent. We the only race don't know how to work together. We the only race trying to step up on each other's backs, bro. And motherfuckers like him is not solving the problem, man. He's putting fuel to that fire. So for him to come out and say anything to Vanessa Bryant is absolutely abysmal, is disgraceful. This man need to stop. They need to take his. They don't need to take his platform. His platform just need to die. People need to stop listening to him. He's got the right to say whatever he wants. He's got the right to feel however he want to feel. People follow that message, fine. But your platform needs to fizzle out because it's built on demagoguery. Like this shit, how you gonna come after his wife because of what she do with her husband's money? And she's not even doing nothing negative with it. It just didn't go directly to black people for the black people. Blah, 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 blah. That money was never owed to the black people. The fuck? This shit needs to go, man. Dr. Umar Johnson needs to go. He should have been gone yesterday. Fuck this guy, man. He's not worth the cloth he's sitting on. If you didn't already know that being a lefty was a risky business, I mean, then I don't think I can help you. I don't think anybody can help you. Like, you're gonna have to walk down that path on your own. Like, being a lefty is not. This is the worst time ever to be a lefty. And by lefty, I'm not talking about a liberal. I'm talking about a left-handed person. Like, if you left-handed, this is the worst time for you to be alive. Like, you left-handed motherfuckers are psycho. And you make up more of the population. Some of you motherfuckers done learn to write with your right hand and shit. You done learn to function with your right hand. And you blending in amongst society like you really on the right. But real talk, you a lefty. Let me tell you lefty something. Let me poorly take my glasses off. Let me tell you lefty something. I see you motherfuckers. And I'm not going to be fooled by your bullshit. Nigga, you could try to change all the policy. You could try to run all the important shit. But let me tell you something. Nigga. They call it the right for a reason. Nigga, righties, us righties, we the ones in the right. Nigga, it ain't no coincidence. This how we roll. We watching you. And when the day of reckoning come, boy, showing your ass no love. Nigga, fuck is you saying, bro? Anywho, we got this headline here. Wait a minute. Let me do some shit under the hood here. Who is this? Oh yeah, the Washington Examiner. I didn't say where that last article was from. That was from Marca, the one talking about Umar Johnson and all that shit. That was from Marca. Left-wing activists sue to change public policy where the candidates cannot win. And you see, we got a picture of some handguns here. That's pretty cool, you know, handguns and shit. We all like handguns, especially us Americans. We fuck with that. Left-wing activist organizations are at the forefront of shaping public policy through lawsuits in places where their aligned political candidates are unlikely to win. A new Alliance for Consumers report obtained by the Washington Examiner shows how groups such as the Anti-Gun, Every Town for Gun Safety, or climate change activist group Earth Rights International sue companies to advance their policy preferences to circumvent the legislative process. These organizations often represent local governments in public nuisance lawsuits, which are used to claim that the public is generally harmed by the existence of something, such as tobacco, in order to obtain favorable public policy outcomes and massive settlements. Public nuisance lawsuits have almost nothing to do with helping consumers, but a lot to do with pursuing a left-wing agenda, Alliance for Consumers Executive Director O.H. Skinner told the Washington Examiner. There has been growing attention to the political donations that these lawsuits help drive toward left-wing candidates. More attention needs to be paid to the public interest groups and shadowy nonprofit funding networks like Arabella Advisors, who staff, finance, and promote these cases. That is what we have done with this report, and we think it illustrates clearly what these lawsuits are really about and why they are a threat. So yeah, that's kind of like slap suits. Like when a motherfucker just has you going up against somebody huge and wealthy enough that can, like, you know, essentially sue your ass into oblivion. They can, like, just continue. If you do something they don't like, they can afford to just harangue you with lawsuits and just fucking completely inundate you with litigation to the point to where the court costs start to add up and the shit just becomes too expensive of an endeavor to even fuck with said person. I forget, it was this one guy, he was in the code, his name was Bob something. Bob Murray. I think that was his name. Bob Murray. He used slap suits a lot, you know, when people would say things against him that he didn't like, you know, or say things about the coal industry or whatever. He would just sue you. He did it to John Oliver. That's where I figured out about Bob Murray when I used to watch John Oliver. But I think they highlight something important by the use of that tactic when they come out and say some shit is generally not good for the public, or just generally, you know, like kind of how they're doing Donald Trump, like how they're just saying, oh, Donald Trump is just a fucking, he's a threat to democracy, so we're going to silence him. Like, what kind of shit is that? How is that American at all? We basically admitting defeat, so we gonna change the competition. We gonna eliminate this person from the fucking running. You know, it's like, what other? How is this American at all? Like, you literally using the judicial system to, for all intents and purposes, eliminate your political opponents. That's what the left does, though. That's how the left, they always are complaining about something. And it's always from this perspective of like, this is for the public and the public needs this. It's like this emotionally charged, just rant or tirade, just about how this is just a scourge to the people, and you know, people are being targeted and not disproportionately affects and such, and you know, racial and marginalized, all those kind of words. Like, like if you had to write a paper, I inhale some weed. If you had to write a paper and there was a list of like 20 words you had to use, like racial, ethnic, disproportionate, discriminated, or discrimination, fucking shit like that, words of that flavor. I'll probably think of some more as they come to my mind, you know. But right wing, democracy, threaten, you know, marginalize. If you had to use like all those words and you just had to write like a 500, you could sound exactly like a leftist. Like, whether you believe what you write down or not, if you just have to write an essay about anything, and those words have to be used at least once, they have to appear at least once in your essay. Like, you could write a leftist article in your sleep. You could. And the reason that works is because they use that kind of language to convey this seemingly egalitarian kind of socialist perspective, and that shit sounds good on paper, but when actually put in that, when you actually put that shit in practice, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We've known this. Like, this shit doesn't work. Any kind of society with its benefits gonna have some drawbacks. Socialists, communists, all that shit. Capitalists, it's all got drawbacks. But all these people you see complaining about this capitalist society that they live in won't leave. Won't leave. Like, if this country is so bad, why don't you fucking leave? Denounce your citizenship and go somewhere else. Why not? Only makes sense. Sit here and stay in this oppressive ass country that hates you and wants to marginalize you. Because when a war break out, a lot of you motherfuckers gonna instantly become Canadian or Mexican all of a sudden. You ain't gonna do shit when some motherfuckers jump out of planes with rifles and gun your ass down. You're gonna be a fucking liability. Motherfucker might trip over you while fleeing actual danger. Because you're dead already. Because you're useless. You can't protect anything. You fucking lunatics. The report, for which Alliance for Consumers sent to every Republican governor in America on Wednesday, highlights several organizations involved with public nuisance claims that are aimed at altering or circumventing the policy decisions made by those elected to decide them. Every Town for Gun Safety, a group founded by former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg to limit gun rights, has been active in trying to change public policy on guns, including by using its Victory Fund to start Demand a Seat initiative to get its trained activists to run for political office. This year, the group boasted that 17 of its candidates won elections in Virginia alone. The group launched Every Town Law to focus on being the largest and most experienced team of litigators in the country dedicated to advancing gun safety in the courts and through the civil and criminal justice systems. Every Town has been active in filing lawsuits against gun manufacturers for contributing to the violent crime epidemic, as it did when representing Kansas City, Missouri, in a public nuisance complaint in 2020 against the Nevada-based Jimenez Arms and other manufacturers and distributors. So you want to say that the gun factories are at fault because they're contributing to the crime epidemic? So essentially you're saying police officers are also guilty because they're contributing to violent crime. Like sometimes they have to kill criminals. They have to use their guns to kill people, you know? So you're going to try to come after the gun manufacturers who also make guns for the so-called good guys too? Contributing to the violence. That's like suing the clouds for contributing to hurricanes. That's like trying to sue the weather. Like, motherfucker, I'm going to sue the clouds because the water that's evaporated is what creates that weather effect. It contributes to it. You know, the hot and the cold air moving this shit, it moves that water and creates a process which causes hundreds of millions of dollars in property damage every year, especially during hurricane season. So we're going to sue hurricanes. We're going to sue the clouds, you know, because they need to be having that shit somewhere else. That's stupid. It's dumb as fuck. Not only because you can't sue the clouds, but it's like, what about when you need rain? What about when you need plants to grow? Like, don't the clouds also serve a pretty vital and non-negotiable role in the fabric of life? Like, you can't not have clouds. The fuck? And yeah, they might be there and facilitate hurricanes or severe weather. But it's like when you have trees that grow, plants that grow, which absorb our carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen so we can breathe and live. You know, they need water and sun for photosynthesis. You know, they serve a good purpose, but we're gonna focus on the fact that they create hurricanes and tornadoes and shit. It's dumb. It's just dumb. It also represented the city of Chicago when it sued the Indiana gun store because its sale of firearms have created, exacerbated, and sustained a public nuisance that causes harm to the health, safety, and well-being of Chicago residents. Also, because more people are buying guns, now there are reasons for the gun. Well, you guys sold the guns that more people bought, so you're responsible too. Okay, so you got to sue all the factories that make every individual part for the gun, like the company that makes the stamp, they're liable too. You know, you gotta also come after all the pawn shops because pawn shops have sold the guns that the gun shops created, and then all the people that bought guns from pawn shops need to be arrested too. Even the ones that haven't done anything with their guns besides go to the shooting range probably twice a week and safely use their gun without causing harm to the health, safety, and well-being of anybody outside of that environment. Stupid. This is the stupid ass language. It's always something threatening to the public this, public that, the public's a threat. Like, it's always this narrative, man, every single fucking time. And when you hear that shit, you start to understand, like how come every time you hear a left winger talk, like you be emotionally charged for a brief moment? Because that's the goal. They don't want you to think rationally. Why the fuck would they want that? You think rationally you would dissolve their argument like sugar in a cup of coffee. Like that shit won't have a leg to stand on. Yeah, this guy's done. Use your brain, basically, is what I'm saying. Like when these motherfuckers talk, don't just don't go with the first thing you feel. Like you have to chew. The bigger the idea, the longer you need to sit with that shit to like understand the nuances and deeper meanings behind that shit. You can't just go off the first impulse that you get, because that's how you end up just being at the mercy of that first reaction. Like your first impression of things is usually bogus. You know, sometimes there might be some accuracy to it, but overall, as a indicator or a way to see inside a person for who they are or like judge their character on that is unreliable and it's not fair even, you know? So that's the problem. That's the real Achilles heel of leftism. Like it's under the guise of benefits. They think what they're doing is benefiting people by making them feel good, but knowing that someday you're gonna have to pay the piper. Like you're gonna have to pay the piper for that feel good. That shit they like to disacknowledge the amount of work that goes into any given thing to achieve any given result. Like it's all taken for granted, or it's sidestepped. So keep your eyes open, man. I've said that many times before. Like leftism ain't the way to go. If I know nothing else, I know not to go there. For real. All right, so I had a segment in place for this one, but when I went back to watch it, it was all fucked up. It didn't look good, and I'm not no super edity nigga. Like I'm not gonna do no whole hours worth of editing shit. That's out. So I decided to replace it with something that happened to me today, actually, something relevant and something that I could probably rant about for 15 minutes. But I'm gonna roll a blunt while I do this shit too, and you can see I'm eating, so I got some mad contempt for whoever I'm about to talk about. And who I'm about to talk about? These fucking phlebotomists at the goddamn plasma center. Now, like, granted, I don't really need to donate plasma. Like, nobody really needs to. Like, it's called donating for a reason. They're donor fees. Like, this is a fee that you, as a donator, you know, receive for being hooked up to a machine and having your blood platelets scraped for like an hour, you know, or less, depending on how much you gotta, how much you weigh and all that shit. So, in about well, let's say 15 months time, I've donated about, this would have been my 56th donation today. So I do this shit pretty frequently. It's not just for the money for me. Like I could pull up my shit if I wasn't using my phone for light, but it says I've helped like 104, 105 patients, and that feels good. Like I appreciate that about me. Like you know, it's my way of, you know, it's like me going to the soup kitchen. Like it's my way of giving back. You know, it's something. It saves lives. It helps make medicine. I don't care about the fact that they give me a few bucks and they go turn around and sell it for thousands or whatever. When you say that shit to me, I just sound like, oh, so they're running a business. So you mean to tell me the people who are paying me to sell my, who are buying my plasma from me are running a business with it? Go figure. Wow. We can't stand for that. We can't stand for these people being capitalists. Fucking stupid. Anywho, so yeah, I say all that to set the frame and say I donate plasma a lot. It's not just about the little money for me because it's really not enough money. When you're a new donor, it's good money. When you're a return donor, that shit's meh. So I go in there, you gotta take the vitals, they prick your finger and they fucking take your blood pressure and excuse me, lately my blood pressure's been like high every time. It's like everybody, the process that's supposed to be run relatively the same each time it's done can be done drastically different depending on who the fuck is sticking you and pricking you, which I don't like, but it's whatever, you know. It's something I just chalked up to the process. So, and this day I even decided to take the liberty. I filled out the little questionnaire from the crib, so I ain't had to stand in the line and wait to do all that shit when I got there, you know. And the bitch I get, she moving all fast. Woo, woo, woo. I come sit down, scan your finger. She walk away. I'm like, what the fuck? So I scan my finger. The shit took what seemed to be a little long. I'm like, and she come back, made me scan my finger again. It's like, so now already I'm on your time. Like I'm supposed to, like, you supposed to be at your position. You ain't get up to run to the bathroom or nothing like that. You up running around like doing some miscellaneous shit. Like what you're doing is not relevant to the business goal, you know? So I'm just sitting here waiting on you now. After I just waited in line. Nobody else had to wait on you, just me. And it's whatever. She goes, she's moving real quick. Getting all the shit, got the little prick thing, boom. And it's like she moving fast as hell. And I'm like, I am afraid of needles. Like I do have a phobia of needles. But donating plasma has helped to like reduce that. It didn't eliminate that shit. It's just reduced. So now when I am faced with needles, I'm not a anxious, wound up, knee tapping fucking lunatic. Like I'm just kind of like, all right, here we go. Like I'm psyched out by that shit. But you know, it still does get to me sometimes. Especially when the bitch moving all that fast. I'm like, why you moving that fast? Then she gonna tell me, oh, if the blood would have got on her, it would have been a problem, so I can't snatch my hand back. It's like, excuse me, bitch? I'm telling you, you moving real fast. Okay, show me your arms. Just talking over me and shit. It's like, bitch, who the fuck pissed in your cornflakes? In a just society, like you should apologize to me. Like I'm not even gonna as angry the fury and rage I feel from that. I'm gonna discard. Like I knew about this blood pressure shit. I'm relatively calm. I did a good stretch before I went in there. My body feels nice and loose. My mind is calm. I'm in pain. I got like tooth pain going on, but that's just not a huge deal right now. Like I'm in a pretty chill state. You know, I smoked a blunt. I'm Gucci. But it's like, what's your fucking problem? And now that I'm all upset, now I gotta take my blood pressure. My shit's like 146 over 87, pulse 112. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna do the retake. Because your disposition, your demeanor, that shit has upset me. And whilst I can discard the upsetness, like I'm not as mad about it now. I think I might have been. I think the stretches really helped, the breathing and shit, you know. I kind of prepped for that. Cause this happens a lot. These motherfuckers be in there asking me, like, why do I always come so late? Why can't I come earlier? Who gonna come donate on the weekend? You ain't got nothing else to do on a Saturday. Like, why the fuck do I want to hear that shit, bro? You think I want to be here? Like, you think this is like, oh my God, I just can't wait to make sure you stay employed. Like, what the fuck? We're the donors. They got signs up in that bitch that say save lives. This how you treat lifesavers? Based on your marketing campaign? Like, what the fuck? Why do I want to sit in here and hear that shit? Why do I gotta sit in here and hear all y'all intimate ass conversations about y'all daily lives, about what niggas y'all talking to, or what shows y'all watching, or what restaurants y'all dining and dashing on? You know, I don't want to hear all that shit, but I understand and accept the fact that this is work for y'all too. So, to some degree, that's just to be expected. Like you gon' chat and communicate with your coworkers. I get that, fine. But like you're talking about us right in front of us. Right the fuck in front of us, bro. Seriously. Like, what's up with that shit? Talking about why a nigga ain't got nothing better to do on the weekend? Bitch, of course I got something better to do on the weekend. The fuck is wrong with you? For some reason, I just want this little measly ass $65 y'all offering. I gotta come twice to get it. Nigga, I'm trying to do people a favor. I'm trying to do something good with my spare time. I don't gotta come here. Then I can make that $65 selling dope 10 times over for that little twice a week bullshit y'all niggas peddling. The fuck? You ain't doing nobody no favors, nigga. That fucking attitude. Like, who the fuck want to sit there and hear that shit, bro? So I get up and leave or whatever. I walk out that bitch, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not finna just leave and not say nothing about this shit, because it's a lot of shit I done overlooked. It's a lot of shit I just done let slide, and this ain't finna be one of them. Like, I'm tired of letting shit slide, nigga. Like, what the fuck I gotta keep letting shit slide for? Y'all not finna sit up in here and berate me in front of... Nigga, that's like going to a restaurant and fucking... you get up and go to the bathroom, and you hear everybody in the back of the house flaming your ass, just talking about how ugly your wife is, why your son look retarded. Nigga, you pulled up in a 96 Volvo, like all kind of shit. Like, nigga, they just going in on your ass. And you like, what the fuck? Hold on now, nigga. Like, if y'all want to say this shit about me in a manner where I can't hear it and I never know, fine. That shit happens every day. Everybody talks about somebody in a manner where the person being talked about is not there to defend themselves. Whatever. That's an undeniable facet of life. That shit just happens, bro. Nevertheless, it is not a good business practice or practice overall to berate your fucking customer within earshot of them. Like, that's not a good idea, generally. Like, I just don't. I come back in, I tell them about the shit, and the lady's just looking at me like I just escaped from fucking from Michael Myers Mansion or some shit. Like, she's just completely blown away, completely flabbergasted, at a loss for words. She doesn't know what to say. And I'm keeping my voice down, like my voice is shaking. I'm not even trying to be loud. I'm like, look, little chick right there, she being rude as hell, bro. Like, she moving real fast. She pricked my hand and tried to like suggest that I was at fault somehow for blood that didn't splatter, or in fact being here for this process. You know, like she was real rude, and then she upset me, and that shit sent my blood pressure up. You know, and I said I didn't want to, but it's like now this is like mostly as a response to your unprofessionalism. I would like to take my 15 minutes, but she'd already canceled me out because I said I was done. Which, whatever. Water under the bridge on that part. I did say I was done, so I can't be mad at that. But that whole process was the most unprofessional shit I've experienced in like 50-something donation. And it's like, I'm not just gonna not say nothing about it. Like, this is bullshit. I would hope some shit like this go viral. Like, it happened in Vegas too. But it was never that. Like, it was at least some kind of decorum to that shit. Like, these motherfuckers would be the last two people in the building. Like, you might be one of the last 2 or 3 people hooked up or something, which like doesn't really justify it anymore. But it's like, man, these are the last couple motherfuckers. Like, you gonna hear a little bit of real talk. Like, we ain't even letting nobody in the building. Like, as soon as y'all get done, shit, it's just gonna be us in here. You know, like, you gonna catch a little something. It wasn't even that. This is mid goddamn day. This is mid shift. Like, I'm trying to be as understanding as I can. I've shrugged off a lot of shit, and this has happened to me before. Like, I've had somewhere between vitals and the donor floor, I get fucking like somebody does something tilting, and it's like, just because I don't get up and punch the wall or assault somebody doesn't mean a physiological response don't take place. Like getting angry ain't so much like being mad. Like, getting angry, like, I don't like, I could just be sitting here like this, but I'm angry as fuck. Like, I don't have to display aggression externally to physiologically experience anger and the symptoms associated with it. So like, at this point, I'm just fucked, you know? And it's not like I'll never donate again, but it's just the time. It's the time. It's to getting my fucking finger poked for what turns out to be nothing. Like, my goddamn ring finger looks like a dartboard, bro. It look like I just been like trying to do acupuncture on my shit. Like, for real. It's the second, third time in a row I've been deferred for a day because of fucking blood pressure. Now, next time I go back, I'm gonna probably have to fucking see medical if I'm not permanently barred, which is the main reason. Oh, I didn't even tell this part. I called corporate on that bitch. Yeah, I did some snitch ass, hoe ass shit. I don't care. That's what the process is there for. I called the number and I told them about that shit. I'm like, as the donor, like as the motherfucker in here providing the life-saving entity, I should not be subject to any kind of negative, pejorative, put down ass kind of language. Like, you need to do that shit out in the back where y'all smoke y'all cigarettes or whatever the fuck. That's back of house talk. You do not let your clients hear personal conversations about how you feel, especially regarding them. My sister's over there, fuck it. Like, it's just, I don't understand, man. Like, motherfuckers' attitude is so bad. Niggas go to work just to celebrate the sensation of getting off work. They can't wait. They never want to work. Never. They don't see no purpose or meaning in what they doing. It's just useless movements and and gestures that all accumulate to nothing except I get a paycheck so I can buy more Douce, fucking crash my car, and do another Cash App scam. Like, I was watching this little short about one of Kobe's teammates, and he said he had the locker next to that nigga, and for 2 years Kobe did not speak to this dude. You know, he just didn't talk to him. He was right next to each other, getting dressed for the game, right next to each other. He never spoke. He said one day he tried to talk to Kobe, just trying to chop it up, small talk. He was like, Kobe said, "You can't talk to me. Get your accolades up. You cannot talk to me. When you get your accolades up, then you can talk to me." It's like, motherfuckers want to be mad at Kobe for that. It's like, no, man, nigga hated lazy motherfuckers, man. He hated motherfuckers with contagious ass negative attitudes. Nigga, if you ain't really about what the fuck you doing, then make the fuck way for somebody who is, punk. Why the fuck should anybody have to suffer due to your lack of ambition? Due to your failure to engage? The fuck? Nigga, why I gotta suffer and waste my time because you having a bad day? Nigga, this shit ain't all about you. You working for the public, nigga. Fuck you gonna have that kind of attitude. Like, nobody never taught y'all niggas shit. Shit irritating, bro. Too motherfucking irritating to even eat cookies, Chips Ahoy Chewies on their ass, nigga, while I'm talking. So I'm gonna just close out with the contempt. These phlebotomists doing something like sticking needles in people all day. You need to find a better way to empty your cup so you can fill it again. Cause ain't nobody got no bodily fluid worth your motherfucking attitude or to be denigrated cause your ass ready to go home from work. Nigga, fuck you. Bitch, I hope you work a 24-hour shift for 3 months straight. Crackhead ass, losing, anti-working, lazy motherfucking ass, bitch. Alrighty, so I don't know if you're familiar with a comedian goes by the name of Matt Rife, but he recently came under fire from, all angles because of a joke he made to some 6-year-old about his mom being an OnlyFans star or whatever. And I don't know where I got the start time clocked at, but he said something to the effect that it's a modern twist on a classic joke, which it is. Like, your mom's a whore. Like, if your mama jokes ain't the oldest form of comedy, I don't know what the fuck is. Like, it is a modern twist on the fundamental insult. Like, even in action movies, you did you know you were a son of a bitch? Oh yeah, I fucked your mother before. Like, it's always been it's classic. So I get what? I guess because it got said to a 6-year-old, now we should like give a shit. Like, I'm confused. I don't really. I'm not the type of person or dad or whatever who's gonna be like, oh, those mean kids they shouldn't be talking about you. I'm like, man, motherfucker, you better learn some jokes. And you better learn how to roast motherfuckers for real. You better figure out your class sense of humor And if a motherfucker try you, I'm not saying be the class clown, but if one of these little knuckleheads try you, shit, you better go, flame their ass, nigga. You better learn how to go in. That's part of being a kid. You gotta learn how to stand your ground, nigga. I ain't gonna come up. You think I'm about to come up, leave my job, come up there and bail you out because some kids making fun of you? Oh well, tough shit, homie. Figure it out. Figure it the fuck out. That ain't my duty to bail you out. Every little spat you get in, nigga. You better learn how to flame. That's on you, buddy. So we gonna listen to a little Dr. Jordan Peterson, the great, the one, the only, sat down and interviewed Matt Rife after this incident, and we're gonna do some listening, do a little bit of commentary, and then close out in great fashion. So let's pull this shit up. There we go.
That I've noticed repeatedly, because I've gone through repeated attempts to cancel me, is that can be quite an intense experience in the immediate aftermath of its occurrence. And that's somewhat off-putting and destabilizing because you don't exactly know how far out it's going to spread or what the consequences would be. But if you didn't do anything wrong and you don't apologize, or maybe you make light of it in some creative way, then the probability that it will turn around and flip in your direction, if you can tolerate the weight, is extremely high. And I don't think that part of the reason I'm bringing this up is because I don't think that people who are in the throes of being canceled understand this. Because you could imagine historically, if an angry mob of your neighbors showed up on your doorstep with pitchforks and flames, and there was like 40 of them, it would probably be a good time to think, these people wouldn't have gone to all that time and effort, in all likelihood, had I not done something wrong, right? But now you can whip up a Twitter mob in no time whatsoever, with no effort, at no cost to yourself, and probably some benefit. And so your instinctual responses to being mobbed are wrong.
Yeah,
right?
because it doesn't translate to the real world.
Right.
I just walked through 2 very packed airports and did nothing but take like 45 pictures.
Right.
Nothing but a positive response.
Have you had any negative responses? You said you had no negative responses to anything you've ever said so far when you're actually on stage. Yeah. Well, what about out in the actual world?
Not once. Never once has somebody come up to me and said, hey, I didn't like the thing you said. Because that kind of social, I don't know if you want to call it, between a mixture of social awareness and accountability doesn't translate to the real world. People know.
It also takes a lot of gall to do that. To come up to someone and say, you know that thing you said, even though you don't know who they are.
Imagine you see a street performer, right? They're playing violin on a street corner. They've got their case out with cash, right? Say you hate violin. Violin drives you nuts. Maybe he's not even good at playing violin. What do? You keep walking, right? No sane, decent human being stops and goes, you're fucking awful, dude. Kill yourself. What are you doing out here? You're making my life miserable until I just look a different direction. That's an insane thing to do. And most people know not to do that. But obviously the internet creates this is what I would believe to be false confidence. And believing that they're safe behind this imaginary source of social media, that they don't face any repercussions because their profile picture is an anime character. And everything's a private profile. There's no consequence to saying what they say.
There's no consequence for leveling an accusation. It's really bad.
Versus the real world, if you come up to me, I can have an intellectual conversation with you as to why I disagree with you. Yes. Or I could smack the shit out of you. That is also a consequence that is viable. And that doesn't weigh on anybody on the internet. So it's easier for people to talk shit on there versus the real world where people actually aren't even bothered. And also I had to figure most of these people who talk shit on the internet and actively try to cancel people and have no life, they're not out in the real world. They're in their house doing absolutely nothing. So you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and they definitely have the mentality of like mean girl high school bullies.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to shame, we're going to reputation.
Yeah, so they make some really good points, some real good points. To touch back on him talking about like if you can withstand the cancel, like when you get canceled, I know alone in all the episodes I've made, I've said so much cancel-worthy shit. I'd be amazed if this shit ever leaves the ground. I would be I would be dumbfounded beyond belief if this thing like I don't really put on an act for this shit. You know, like if you see me in person, I'm gonna say the same shit I said on this show. Cause this ain't no act. This is how I really think. This is how my mind work. I come up with all of this shit. I find my talking points. Like ain't nobody writing shit for me. A lot of my shit I do off the cuff, nigga. Cause this is how I am. This ain't no act. You can scan through all my shit, nigga. It's consistent as fuck. So I couldn't imagine getting canceled. I would certainly be the type of, like, I don't mind being an average person. I don't mind going to work. I don't mind, like, just, you know, not living a mediocre life, but, like, taking good care of my body, like, traveling the world, going places, like, all shit I've done and do as a regular guy. Like, my life ain't gonna suck. My life ain't going down the tubes. None as a result of how some, you know, some old cancel people think I'm racist or whatever. Okay, well, if you got the balls to ever sit down and talk with me, you will learn for yourself that I'm just a person with a perspective, and you know, and I don't talk about shit I don't know. So that's on you. You know, another good point they just brought up is about how like the internet serves as kind of like this barrier for people to talk shit behind. Like people will talk shit on the internet with no hesitation because, you know, I got my anime picture up. Like, you don't know who the fuck I am. How could you possibly know who the fuck I am? I can make all these anonymous accounts and I can do all this extra shit, and you can't do anything unless you got like some hacking capabilities or you dox me or some shit like that. Or just like, if I'm ever doxxed, like, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna be a gun owner. If you try to come in my shit, you better throw some cocktails. You better have some hand grenades, because you gonna get dropped. Like there's no coming to my house. And like, if you come to my house and you threaten my family or you threaten any of my guests, anybody on my premises, it's your life. You forfeit your life. It's that simple. I ain't asking no questions. I'm not lifting no dog tag. Like, it's just that, you know. So you be best to stay in your internet safe zone, because like, I'm the type of nigga that's gonna do that for mine. Like, it's not a second thought. I'm not no violent criminal crookster ass motherfucker. But I understand when it's time to get violent, violence is necessary. So ain't no point in getting ain't no point in getting worked up about it. Nigga, it's time to hurt people. It's time to fucking hurt people. That's how my mind works. Hey, I know I'm not gonna lose no sleep knowing I just decapitated your ass. Because if I decapitated you, your ass was slated for decapitation. So there's that. I think, like he said, how in the another thing to touch on, how in the real world, he said nobody's ever approached him about that shit, like with some hatred or some animus, like motherfuckers taking pictures with him in the airport and shit. He, you know, connecting with his fans and all that type of shit. Like, it would seem as though the only outcome as a result of that shit has been positive. Like, it's just been positive things that have happened as a result. So like, what Patrice O'Neal was on Fox News, and this lady was just going on and on and on this leftist tirade. It's like, people are outraged about these. Who are the people? Show me the people. Nobody's fucking outraged. This is just if you just see it on the news, you kind of don't have the time or the resources to like deeply fact check everything they say. So if the news, mainstream media outlet says, "Oh, people are outraged," then they just show some stock footage of some motherfuckers just nutting up and shit. You be like, "Oh wow, people are really mad about this joke." A couple people sitting behind the desk, "Oh, I think that joke's reprehensible," and anybody who says it, like, that's all you see. So if you just base your whole image of that based off that little excerpt, you gonna think people is outraged about some shit, and you go ask somebody, "Hey, did you hear that shit so and so said?" He's like, "Fucking who?" Nobody knows. No average everyday motherfucker knows about this shit or gives a goddamn. It's all meaningless. It's all stupid. All of it. All of it.
Savage, we're going to exclude.
Yeah,
Those are all.
Go ahead. Put so much energy in your life into thinking about me and how much you don't like me. What a waste of your life.
Yeah. So now you said too that when you posted your response to the criticisms, you posted something I think that's wildly funny, by the way. And so maybe you could explain that to this particular crowd. But you also told me in the intervening time between the two podcasts that wasn't a calculated response, that you relied on your instinct for what was funny. So explain what you did.
So funny. You sound like a principal who my parents came here. Tell them what you did.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Lay it out, man.
But the principal actually loves it. This is perfect. So now I had to convince my parents not to whoop my ass. Basically, this thing happened. There was an outrage over a joke that was wildly misperceived. And that's fine. You're allowed to like or not like a joke. Totally okay. And in response to that, I posted, when you get canceled or somebody is upset about a joke you tell, you're supposed to apologize. People want you to back down and shame you and recognize what you've done wrong. And I don't believe I did anything wrong.
And might I add to that, like, how narcissistic is that? Like, I did something that you don't like that's not really objectively harmful or bad in any way. It's just you didn't like it. Like, your chief gripe is that you didn't like it. Didn't cost you money, didn't affect your family. Like, you just didn't like what you heard. Now you think I owe you some kind of counter interaction as a result, or like I'm not worth your time. Like the nerve of motherfuckers like that. Could you imagine? Like, motherfucker just say, oh, you told a joke I don't like, now you owe me an apology. Well, if you don't apologize, then fuck you. It's like, well, fuck me then. I don't owe you shit. I didn't do shit wrong, and if I did apologize, you wouldn't get one today. I'd be just sat and thought about what I did. Like, did I really pass up a better option to be a dick? Which I say about 30% of the time, the answer is yes. But you still only go get an apology from me like 2% of the time. I'm only going to apologize if I really intend to not have to say that again. Like, when I apologize, there's no double and triple apologies. Like, you're probably going to get one apology from me in my lifetime. Because somebody can always spin it like, you ain't sorry. You did it because that's what you meant at the time. I'm like, you know what? You're right. So fuck an apology. And fuck you too.
Whatsoever. So it made me really feel like the people who were offended by this were, for lack of better words, and to be quite frank, weak-minded. So I posted a photo of me on stage, thought it was a good photo, with a link at the bottom of it. And the caption was saying, if I've ever offended you with a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology. And the link description should have been a dead giveaway. It said, click to solve your issue. And when you click on the link, it redirected you to a store,
That's
an
funny.
online
click
storefront.
To solve your issue. That's funny.
Very specific.
Because it's a little ambiguous.
Of course. And then you click on the link and it redirects you to an online storefront for special needs helmets. I thought this was very funny. And again, misconstrued. People instinctually, again, people get triggered by subject matter than what the joke actually is. Everybody took that as I was making fun of special needs people. No. I don't have anything to say about special needs people.
You're making fun of people claiming special needs for their emotional fragility inappropriately.
Exactly.
Right,
I'm saying,
and quite nicely,
you need this way more than they do.
Yeah, right.
And the best part is that you clicked on it. You fucking idiot.
Right. They could have special needs earplugs that they could wear to comedy shows where you actually couldn't
they
hear the
filter out
comedian.
all the words.
Yeah, all of them.
AI generates what they want to hear.
Oh, that'll
that's
happen
so
soon
genius.
enough. That's right. You'll be able to get an AI.
Well,
that's right. AI censor.
But that's technically what your algorithm is.
Yeah, that's right.
It shows you what you want to see. It tells you what you want to hear. The night that I was like the #1 trending thing on Twitter, night before last, I think it was, I texted my friend and I was like, yeesh. And he sent me a screenshot of his. I wasn't even top 25. He goes, nobody cares, dude.
Right.
It's in your circle because it's your profile. You're going to hear about it, obviously, but it's not to the extent that people think. So yes, I posted this misdirect of an apology, and it couldn't have went better. I was literally just sitting passenger seat in a car ride with my friend, and I just thought it would be a funny thing to do. It took me no more than 45 seconds to think of doing that. I go, hey, is this funny? And he cracked up laughing, and I went, nah, fuck it. I also thought that most of the outrage was happening just on Twitter and TikTok. Like, Instagram's a far more personal app, I think. And so the fact that people even saw that and took it to other platforms, I thought was insane, but also proved my point even more that people who don't even like my comedy or have never even heard of me saw the outrage and my response to it and went, oh, that's actually funny.
Right.
So it actually gained me a lot of fans.
Yeah. clip him there. But yeah, to touch on that point, like you said, the shit worked out in his favor. Like, he didn't really do anything wrong. He did what comedians do. He made people fucking laugh. He told a joke. You were the butt of your own joke, which is doubly infuriating for you lefties out there. And you fucking melted down. Like, that's on you, bro. That's totally on you. That ain't got shit to do with me. I'm not going to lose a minute of sleep. I'm not going to lose anything that I value or care about in this world because your ass didn't like the joke. That's totally on you, homie. That's your cross to bear. So bear it and leave me the fuck out of it. You know? I really don't need to hear that shit. I really don't care. That's that. And I think that was a good way to sit there and dissect like this cancel culture and how sensitive we've gotten over time. Like, we've gotten so fucking sensitive. You can't crack a joke. You can't talk about an ethnic group. Like, the ethnic group you talk about might not even be mad about the joke. Like, somebody says nigger, and they be like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, what the fuck? Bro, I say nigga 1,000 times a day. I'm black. I don't give a fuck about somebody's hard R. Like, there's no distinction for me because I don't give a fuck. I've been hearing white people say the word nigger as a pejorative and as a way to inflame me since I was 13 years old. That's almost 20 years, homie. I ain't tripping on that shit. I ain't tripping on no white people saying nigger or they got these racist motherfuckers don't even know me directly. Shit. They probably sit down and talk to me and we probably chop it up and smoke a cigar. And they give me a fucking a noose as a fucking parting gift. We all laugh about that shit. Like, what the fuck? Whatever, nigga. I'm walking out alive. Like, I'm not tripping. Because I don't understand. I'd rather understand these motherfuckers. I'd rather understand, like, where does this fucking shit, I'd be the nigga walking in talking about, yes, I have questions. If y'all can agree to not kill me for an hour, I promise I just want to ask y'all some questions to get the fuck out of here. I'm just curious. It's this story. I forget. If you look it up, it's this black dude who went into the KKK and, like, asked about him, ended up joining that shit. He was the one black dude that was allowed in that bitch. And then ended up the dude that he met that got him into the KKK ended up leaving the KKK fucking with this black dude. Shit was wild. I forget. I need to look into that. If I find that shit, it's gonna be something. I'm gonna put that in the segment. That shit we gotta tell that story. But yeah, so yeah, that's it. I'm cutting out the little shit where that's the show. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the shit out of y'all. Until next time, I'll holler. Peace. I gotta stop saying peace, man. That shit's so lame.